One thing I found very, very strange in Nigeria was the tight separation between men and women in daily life. Just like in the local churches, you had men on one side, women on the other. That was not just that. It was like women had a completely independent life. Of course, at home you had the mother and the father, but apart from that, they lived life that were completely separated. And I remember when I joined the women's group in church, and I asked them, why can't my husband come with me? And they were just rolling with laughter and saying, why? And of course, at that time, I didn't have any idea of the way things were functioning. Then later on, I found that women in Nigeria were not supposed to stay at home. What I'm talking about, Igboland, of course. Northern Nigeria is another world. So women traditionally were having their portion of land to cultivate, and the cultivation was different. That's women were in charge of cocoyam and vegetables. Men were in charge of yam, because yam was a man's crop. And so they were both working on the land, but in separate ways. And then women were going to market. That was their normal activity in villages. So they were going to market, and there they were selling the produce of their gardens, and then with the money they got, they were buying stuff. And the budget for food was, balanced. Usually men were buying the meat and women the vegetables to make the soup. So it was well organized, and women used to go to market until they delivered their child. So you see many market women pregnant, and sometimes it did happen that a child was born on the way to market. So hence the name Uzafia, born on the way to market. But now, of course, in modern world, women are still working, but usually they are not market women anymore. Well, some are, obviously, but in town, women are doing other things. They were in corporate world, they are in schools, in hospitals, they are working, and they continue the tradition of working women outside, working for a payment, of course. And in the house, that was a different matter, because women had people that were working with them. The household was different. But what was strange to me was thinking of having a life completely separate from my husband's life. And even when I joined the Newi women, that's the village women abroad chapter at Nsukka, then women had their own meetings. They had their own meetings, and the men were having the meeting usually in the same place, except that women were inside in the lounge, whereas men were outside in the garden. And when women wanted to talk to men, then they sent a delegate, and the delegate would say to the men, well, my friends, my fathers, the women sent me, and she delivered the message, and the men would reply, and then she would come and carry the message back. So the women were not just discussing with their husband during those times of meetings. And women had to ask for permission if they wanted to organize a special activity. But still, they were very much in charge. They could decide, okay, we are going to have that dance, we're going to learn that dance, and we're going to buy this wrapper and this costume, this outfit. So they were quite independent. And I thought it was very, very strange, very strange, very strange, very strange. Because in France you don't do that, you know. Women, yes, they have activities, but it's not so separated. Many a time they just go with the husband. So for me it was a challenge. I had to learn independence, an independence that I was not really keen on, because I'd never seen it. And it has always shocked me since, when people complain, women complain, oh, we are just under, we are not, recognized. And each time I remember my experience of 25 years and say, they don't even know what they're talking about. Well, maybe it's my own point of view, but for me, I know that women were very independent. And if you read history, you find out that before colonization, women were really independent. Not only independent, but they led in many ways. You had women queen, you had chieftains, you had priestesses. It has been all recorded and studied. Now colonization came about and the British were very alien to that environment, so they really suppressed women actually. But you find out that even at that, women continued pushing back. And for example, during and after the Biafran War, there were these prayer houses that were in between church and traditional, and most of them, at least the big ones, were led by women. So this proved again the independence of women. Women and men were complementary, but they lived completely separated lives. Yeah. So something to think about.